Okay, welcome to my first ever Rise to War video, mobile game. I play a lot of it. This is actually on my free-to-play account under the name of Mr. Cuddles. I am Erebor in this video. This was taken at the end of my first 24 hours, where I had fairly decent ring power at 5,390. I sat roughly 50th in the personal production rankings, which I thought was decent for a free-to-play server. I'm in Season 5 now on this, so I thought it was a good effort. I use a specific method. I know some people have asked me, so I figured I would try and show them. Just sort of prove things. I had a couple of 150s, some 130s, lots of 90s, some 60s and some 40s left, I think, at this point. Yeah, no 30s. My commanders I was using were Gandalf and Dwalin. As you can see, I don't think it's unreasonable for free-to-play gear there. I have invested in just the two commanders, really. Gimli is a third, but here's the build that I'm using at the moment with the leveling. Gimli isn't very level because he just loses too many troops early doors, so I've left him be. On the subject of tiles, I always try and take a 150 of each type, a wood and a stone, and a 130 of both ore and grain, just so I've got the best tiles before I finish 24 hours to gather from due to the perks. Here's the buildings where I got up to. I nearly got up to main hall 6, which I thought was a good effort during that time. There's fewer buildings there, as you can see. I try and get the levies up early on with ore tributes and things like that. And that's where I was at with my buildings. So it was a bit of an experience. I did make some mistakes. You'll see them in this video. I always try and leave tips as well, as you can see, because we don't get XP from until the next chapter unlocks, so I will only use them then. In a minute, I will start running through the first 30 minutes or so of the season, which got a little bit hectic. This is a little flash forward a couple of days, and as you can see, I've moved up to 6th roughly in the power rankings, again using a specific system, which works pretty well for me. So I'm just hopefully going to show you. Obviously there I'm at 166 tiles instead, and there's plenty of wood tiles and things around. I'm just showing you the chapters just to show you that I am 6th in the rankings if it goes up, and my ring level's moved up to 26 now, so I'm still about that now a couple of days on. So even as free to play, you can compete at the top end of the power rankings as long as you do it correctly. Like I say, Erebor, we are climbing up the rankings as well now, which is quite good as a Stormcloaks. So we'll see what happens, but in a second I will show you Gandalf again and what level I've achieved in 3 days. So 35, 34 and Gimli's 20. I will start mock battling him soon on 200 tiles because I think that's probably the best way to go about it from there. Just a little shot again there on the gear. At this point I'm basically taking 150s, mainly stone, with both Dwalin and Gandalf and nothing else in between. And with that, I guess we'll jump right in. So here's the first half an hour or so. So I'm skipping the videos, I'm getting through because I can't really be bothered with it. Just wasting my time. There's me having to choose Erebor. I actually wanted to join Arnor. I've got a lot of friends in this server on Arnor. It's my old group. They play under Rage on this server, and they are a good group and a bunch of good guys too. So a little bit of a mention of them there. Here's where I spawned. I got really lucky with where I spawned. This is the last season, whereas we're now accomplished. So really lucky where I spawned. It is right by a load of 150 tiles. Erebor wasn't very populated on this server, I have to say. As a brief me going into just putting some gear on my commanders. I have done that before in a different season where I've gone to attack up sort of even a 1 power tile without any gear on and lost loads of people early doors. I always build an apothecary first as well before I go and attack a tile, just the way I go about things. So I'm putting gear on my two commanders I'm going to use. Like I say, it isn't the best gear in the world, but I think as a free-to-play player you can achieve this gear quite sensibly. I wish I kind of went for the pipe with sustain as opposed to the Wizard's Firework, partly because it hasn't got on it pursuit was the word I'm looking for, which is a little bit annoying because by the time you get to Season 5 you do need a lot of pursuit, as I've learned in my main account. So I'm now looking through the rest of my gear, putting a little bit on Gimli. By the way, this is me voicing over something that I've already recorded because apparently I can't concentrate on both at the same time. So if I sound a little bit off what I was doing, it's because I'm trying to remember what I did about 7 days ago, so that may not work for me. So as you can see, I'm flicking through all the different commanders at this point to try and find Gimli, because I couldn't do that. And I'm giving his people to go and path. So he will path to 15 tiles. I will never take anything below a 15 when I first start, because I just feel like it's a waste of stamina on the main comms. So your main comms should only ever be used for tile taking. You'll see throughout the videos I tend not to... well, I'll never path a main comm, but say if I hit a tile that I don't completely take, and I may even lose the draw, I would rather use a pathing comm to hit the tile with than use any of the experience of my main commander withdrawing and sending him back in. So I've built some little bits and bobs already, because obviously the speed times are quite quick. I did play this on my mobile, so you can see there that I'm sort of tapping away pretty frantically while working hard in the background. And then I frantically try and fit Gandalf with some troops, because obviously first 24 hours are very important. The faster you can do things, the better. And I'm going to send him at the first tile of the season, forgetting that I haven't actually skilled him at this point. So here we go. I'm going to put Dwal in some troops as well, so he's ready. Everything's just about being quick at this stage, and then I will go into skilling Gandalf. So I do go into the Grey first. I know some people don't, but I do like the healing. I do try to start the season with mainly healing comms if I can. I will trigger Blindside, and I'll put 2 points in Wizard and 1 in Surge, just so I trigger the extra Grey skills every time he attacks, which is a pretty standard Gandalf build. So, and then he takes the first tile, which is an absolute bonus. Losses aren't too bad. I am not too fussed about losses in the first 24 hours because of the buffs. I would rather lose more troops than just sort of play safe, because the buff is that good. So this is the build I will use for Dwalin early. Again, it's a full healing build. Does it do brilliantly? It's okay. And I will do the same with him, so he will also be off taking 15 power tiles. So as you can see there, the losses on Gandalf are quite a lot, but as you can see there as well, you get a lot of troops back in that first 24 hours, so it's not too bad. As I said, I would never use a main commander just to take a 1 power tile at this point. They will always be taking main tiles. So I will build as fast as I can. I try and get a conscription post on early. I try and get everything that I can do early, but make sure I go through the chapter as fast as I can. Memorising some of the chapter stuff's quite good, but if you can get through the chapters, you get to unlock more tiles that you can have. So that is the best method for me of increasing your power as fast as possible. Getting through chapters is really important because you also get the resources. You get them per item that you sort of finish, but you also get them at the end of the chapter, which are really helpful in continuing your leveling. I try and make sure I've got troops building around the clock in the first 24 hours because I think that's also important. So you'll see there that I've already got those building. The little scrolls are helpful to see what you need to do in regards to chapters, but I'm basically just trying to upgrade everything I can that takes less than 20 seconds at the moment that I know will be involved in chapter unlocks, and the first 2 buildings on your opening troop combo is normally a good one. So we've took 2 tiles. Even Dwalin's wasn't terrible. He will get reinforced, same as Gandalf, and then we will be off to attack some more tiles in a second, I hope. Love how quick the reinforcing time is at this stage of the season. This is me just having a quick scan around, see what tiles I've got around me. I will probably take a couple of 15s and then start pathing towards 30s or so at this point because I would rather try and get ahead. You only get so many hits in the first 24 hours, providing you're not buying stamina potions, which I don't in this video. I know some people do. Continuing to go through the chapters quick there. Yeah. Oh, and I forgot about this as well. So I start opening Mavens at this stage just because I've got a couple of minutes and setting the box up for the season. I will be trying to invest in Dwalin, as you can see, Gandalf, and I believe in this account I have, Gandalf the White, and I have 4 in R4. I think Gandalf the White's R5. I don't think anything good comes out of these chests from memory. Which is a shame, because, everyone loves a chest. Okay, so after that disappointment from the chess, I'm going to head back to taking some tiles, hopefully, I would imagine, at this point. And I have, so I'm just pathing with Gimli, as you can see. Probably shouldn't be pathing with Gimli, because then I'm thinking of using him as a third comp, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I think I'm heading towards the 15, just over there, while looking at all those 150s that I now own. And I started thinking about joining a fellowship, which is important for some of the early chapter tasks. Now, obviously, it would be important to join a fellowship that you plan on staying in if it's possible, or if it's one with your friends, even better. In this case, I knew no one in Erebor, so I decided just to join a random one. That one actually got disbanded by the leader a while ago, and now I'm in something called the Stormcloaks, which is actually doing pretty well still. But yeah, once you've joined the fellowship, obviously you have to write in faction chat and in fellowship chat, which unlocks a couple of challenges that, again, gets you some resources from memory. So that's me just doing that. There you go, there's the little keyboard coming on. And the other one. And then after we've got this 1 power tile, we'll work on that 15. So just for a little bit of fast forward in there while that's happening, and then we'll go into skilling Gimli really quickly. Obviously, he hasn't got many points at this point, so it's hardly really worth watching. That's my actual gear. I don't think I actually went through it. There's not a lot there. All the blue stuff I end up selling because you need quite a lot of gold in Season 5, and it gives you a good start. People replying saying hello. Probably doing the same thing as me. And then we look into other stuff. So I would recommend always getting the season pass. I haven't on here that limited gift pack as well for the Mavens. The 10 for 179 is also pretty good. I don't ever buy the extra construction queue. I don't really feel it's necessary because you just end up with a bottleneck on resources. So again, if you want to be free to play, it does work for you. I will throw this back into fast forward in a second after the building, so that's where I'm up to at the moment. Again, trying to level up my apothecary, just waiting on a few bits. Don't be afraid to spend some gems early. I tend to spend probably around about 400 gems in the first 24 hours, just speeding things up. I think it is worthwhile, and it gets you to certain bits that you wouldn't normally get to. I'm just looking through the deals again and getting my freebies because the red dot's annoying me by still being there. And then I start claiming the bits and bobs that I will have unlocked by joining the fellowship and things like that. So that's why I do it, just to get a few things early on. Taking tiles, flicking through, and I'm apparently already part of all the communities. So something else is finished, and you'll just keep seeing me bobbing in and out of going between tiling to 15s and things like that. And also all the buildings that I need. So yeah, I will throw it into fast forward in a second after I've reinforced. Just so you can see, Gimli's losses are obviously non-existent. Gandalf's lost quite a bit, but if you look at the actual dead units, it's less than a unit. So that's how I look at any tile that I take in the first 24 hours, is how many are actually dead, not wounded. Appreciate this is a bit of a drain on your grain, but it does allow you to get a bit further forward. There's another chapter to unlock. Chapter 4 is nearly already done because of the work we've already done. And then it's just a case of following through all the different bits that we've got left. So again, we keep upgrading things. I won't collect the gold yet because my quarters aren't high enough up for me to think about collecting them. I think I can get up a little bit higher. Obviously, I've still got 2 to go, so I've got 4 hours really before I have to start taking any gold. And here we are back into probably putting some gear on someone, I would hazard a guess. Probably Theoden. Mainly because he was the only person I actually tried to get some okay gear for originally, so he's not particularly terrible, but as you can see, I'm into blue gear, so it is a very, 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 very free to play account. And yeah, okay, you may not compete at the top end of PvP, but in PvE early on, you can definitely get ahead of most. I do like that fiddle. Probably need to put that on either Gimli or Dwalin at some point, because it's actually got the heroism skill in it, so could do with changing that, but not right now. So it was keep reinforcing, we keep taking tiles. And now I'm going to hit fast forward in a second, finally, and let you watch a few minutes gameplay without me really talking about it. What I will say is when I reinforce now, because I probably haven't got enough troops currently for 2 armies, I just switch between the 2, as you'll see, even though it's in fast forward. So if I've only got 500 troops in a Gimli, I will move him down to 100 and then move them all into Gandalf to make sure I've always got 1 full army, and I just rotate like that. So they both keep taking tiles. Okay, good luck. Okay, so I'll just have a brief look at the ring. It is different now. I actually think it's harder to level up and get more resources this way, but that's just my opinion. I will take extract first, just in case I need some resources really fast, because you can't get gathering now for quite a while. I will reset the ring after probably 10 or 12 levels anyway. I tend to take dominance whenever I can, obviously, but then I'll also max out enormous power as fast as I can, because I feel like the extra ability points are good. It just means you can do some extra bits and bobs like gathering or even extracting earlier, because it sort of rotates a bit faster. As you can see, we've took a few more tiles, and I think we're just going to have a look at a report here for a 30 tile, which on the face value genuinely looks horrific. Yeah, there you go, but he has moved up to level 8, so it's all about leveling up early. If we look into the actual report, there's only just over a unit of dead. That's kind of how I judge it earlier on. It's just make sure your wound is as low as it is, obviously, but the amount of dead troops is the key, really. You can always speed up your apothecary, which I'll sort of do in a minute, as long as you don't run out of grain, which you tend not to early season, if I'm honest. You just keep getting through the troops. It's just about being brave. You won't run out of troops using this method. It'll be close because you're rotating the armies, but you won't actually run out. I think in a second after that tile, as you can see, I'm bringing Gimli up, like I said, to actually take the tile, because I don't want to use any more stamina on anyone else in case Gandalf didn't take it. And then I'll just end up going in and just speeding up my apothecary just to make sure I can still sort of feed one army with troops, as it were. But the gem cost is so low early on, it's pretty irrelevant really for what it is. Then again, it's just about making sure your troop queues are full. I've now got 2 queues, you can see from the work we've done on the buildings, and taking more tiles. So that's that one done. I keep scaling Gandalf up. Remember to put your points in, obviously, as best you can. I do forget from time to time, mainly because I'm sort of trying to fly around the map as fast as possible. As you can see there, Gimli lost some troops when he took the tile, but it's, again, pretty irrelevant, all things considered, because the actual dead number's pretty low. We'll send Gandalf at another 30 tile and collect some more bits and pieces. Reinforcing time really is so good. I missed that later in the season. Then we'll have a little check up on where we're up to with buildings, because I think a couple of them are nearly finished, including the main hall, which is always a bonus. I always really want to speed them up with gems. Probably if I was playing my main, I would speed them up with gems just to sort of... I'm not the most patient of people. And we'll send Gandalf at another tile, I hope. Probably a nice grain one over there. There we go. Off we go. Let's see what's behind this tile. Hopefully it's someone weak and we don't lose as many troops as last time, but like I say, it's fairly irrelevant. I will delete 1 tiles as I go along as well, because I, again, don't really see the purpose in having them there. They don't really give you a great deal. That is such a death. And here we go. So 24 seconds is what the counter says. So we'll reinforce Gimli again, and then we'll probably get some troops on Dwalin as well, and we'll keep pathing around to make sure we're ready for a next tile while we're taking this tile. I'm very frantic, it seems, throughout looking at all my different comms and things. I must just sit there getting bored. There's a lot of tiles being dropped there as well. Then Gandalf hits the tile. Let's see who it is. Okay, it's a draw, and it looks like our good friend Denethor. Give me the tile, Denethor. However, he will do after the draw. So that's good. Also, looking at it, the losses aren't as bad, which is also a bit of a bonus, because let's face it, no one wants too many losses. So we'll throw the next 10 minutes or so into fast forward, and we'll see where we end up, I guess. So I'll go make myself a brew, and hopefully you guys can just watch 10 minutes of me tile taking and sort of upgrading buildings and sort of generally pottering around Middle-earth, not really doing a great deal. Okay, so we're coming to the end of the first half an hour now. Hope you got a few tips from that little bits and bobs, but I just thought I'd just do a little summary before I sort of sign off and go into a couple hours down the line in another video. So I will do a recap video at the end after I've done the 24 hours, just to sort of see where we are. But well, I've just hit another tile, so let's have a look who that is. It looks like the dreaded Yusra, Queen of the Dragoons. And yeah, we've done okay about it. So I would probably say we're nearly ready to go for 40s in a second. As you can see, we're on chapter 8 at the end of the first half an hour, roughly. Only 18 tiles, but I'm not too fussed about that. So yeah, we'll sort of keep taking tiles as we go along. My advice is to be brave. Always try and take the next tile up if you think you can. Just push yourself. Like I say, those troop losses aren't too bad early on in the game. You know, if you can get onto 40s before anyone else in the area around you, particularly if it's highly populated, it's a massive benefit. And it's the same with 60s if you're first there. It scales up to 150s, and it will pretty much scale up to 200s. But yeah, give yourself time to sit and play, hopefully, for those first 2 or 3 hours, just because they are really important. You can get ahead, and making sure your troop queues are sort of building all the time, and just take as many tiles as you can. If you've enjoyed this, I know people say leave a like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to try and say that in most of my videos, because I think if you do actually like the content, you will just do that anyway. So yeah, I hope to see you in the next video, and until then, as Gandalf says, always follow your nose.